Welcome, everyone, to another edition of Epicurean Delights with your host, Randy Berg. And we are joined today by a very special guest on Epicurean Delights. We have the travel show host, Ted Blake. Yes. We're expecting you. The love.
I'm very impressed. I'm very impressed.
Very impressed.
If the day job doesn't work out,
that's right.
I think there are some cruise ships that might hire you.
All right, some cruise ships play the melodica.
It worked out for Charo, so
that's right. Coochie coochie.
That made him feel so welcome. That's so nice.
It really did. Thank you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, we do what we can.
So, Epicurean Delights, would you please explain to our special guest star, it's kind of like the Love Boat, Ted Blake, what Epicurean Delights is about?
Epicurean Delights comes from Farrell's Ice Cream Parlor. Were you ever at Farrell's
He's
Ice
too
Cream
young,
Parlor
probably.
restaurant?
Too young, I think.
Too
that,
young.
yeah.
Okay, this was back in the 70s when the Earth was cooling. The 1970s.
When I was born.
And it's a wonderful ice cream parlor restaurant. And they had this huge sandwich called the Gastronomical Delicatessen Epicurean's Delight. An Epicurean is a aficionado of fine food.
Oh.
And so we're talking about fine foods here, not junky food.
Then I've come to the right place.
You've come to the right place, and you have a bunch of menus here from cruise ships, and you've eaten a lot of foods in different places.
Yes.
We just want to hear about that.
Well, I have to tell you, this is a real treat for me. Let's talk about the 70s again. You two are coming together kind of like when Petticoat Junction and Green Acres crossed paths. You know,
Wow.
you know what I'm saying?
Is that like Zsa Zsa Gabor and Ava Gabor? They were both in those where they like...
Zsa Zsa was not,
She was
just
on
Ava.
Green Acres,
Ava.
wasn't she?
Eddie Albert and
Yes,
Ava Gabor.
Green Acres is the place to be.
So was that before Farm to Table Food came on?
Living is the life for me. Okay, let's hear it. Place to be. Farm living is the life for me.
That's all. That's all I got.
I guess I have way more fun
So,
on this
anyway,
show than we have on the travel show.
I don't know.
We're all serious all the time.
We're not serious on the travel show. So, Epicurean Delights, you enjoy talking about different kinds of food. And you had mentioned that you thought it would be interesting to talk about food when we travel.
That's right, because that's really a highlight of traveling is to try foods from different places.
It's interesting. Someone once did a survey, so I'm sure it's true. I found it on the internet.
Oh, then
but
it's
someone
really
once
true.
did a survey that the number one reason people like to travel, agree or disagree, is because they want to try new food. And 97% of people said yes.
They
so
did?
we're part of that 97%. I don't
That's
think I
right.
want to hang with the other 3%. They aren't very fun.
No.
they're-
But I think that is, traveling is a time to try new things.
They don't have any fasting cruises, huh?
They don't. No, they don't.
Okay. Something to consider
That's
when
not
you
a
want.
thing.
That's not
Yeah,
a thing. Okay.
That's after the cruise.
So,
Yeah.
food is an important part of travel.
It is. And I think back to a lot of the great experiences I've had traveling. And it's like, we went to a great restaurant, or we got to try a new beverage, or we tried some food that, I'd never had before. And so I absolutely think it's a key part of travel.
We were on a Viking River cruise on the Danube River this last summer, and one of the highlights of those, it was just an 8-day cruise, is you get to have food from that particular area.
Yeah.
They always
Oh,
have that
okay.
on half of the menu. Okay, now we're in
France
Budapest.
or Germany.
In
Yeah.
Budapest,
Yeah.
yeah. So what would they have? And
Goulash.
So we had some goulash.
But really good goulash. Totally different than the goulash we had in high school.
You mean better than high school cafeteria goulash? Come on.
One of the things I like with river cruising is there's another brand out there called Ama Waterways, a competitor of Viking, and they have something called the Chef's Table. And so the Chef's Table is a restaurant for about 30 people, and it's at the stern of the ship.
Sounds exclusive.
It is exclusive. Everyone gets invited once per cruise, and they have a multiple course tasting menu. And so you actually can watch the chef make the dishes as you go, and it's paired with wine. So it's quite an Epicurean feast, but it's always very seasonal. And I was talking to somebody about river cruising, and I was reminiscing about my last cruise on the Rhine, and we were there in the middle of May, and it was asparagus season. There was asparagus everywhere in Germany. You drive on the motor coach to go on a tour, and there were asparagus stands at every roundabout. And so we had so much asparagus in the Chef's Table, and it was so good. We had white asparagus, we had green asparagus. It was just phenomenal. And
Do you
then
have
the other
asparagus shortcake?
I swear they had asparagus in the dessert, but somehow I didn't take a picture of that, so that might have to be an urban legend. But then the next time I went, it was fall. And so everything was, very autumn inspired. there, like, pumpkin. We had pumpkin pie, German version of pumpkin
Sure.
pie, and sauerkraut and sausage and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that is, I think, one of the really neat things about river cruises is they bring the region on board, and you get to enjoy. If you're in France, it's kind of French food. If you're in Germany, it's German food. So
I love France's fries and dips.
Me too.
Oh. I'll tell you, the French do make the best
their
French
bread.
toast.
And their toast.
And their bread. The French bread, yeah. I could probably give up chocolate before I could give up gluten.
For sure.
French bread, there's nothing better than
No.
real French bread. Nothing better. Absolutely not. Did you get to have Bavarian pretzels when you were on your river
I don't
cruise?
think we did.
Oh, you missed out.
We have to go back.
How about beer? Did they have some beers on there?
They had all kinds of them. I don't drink, so I thought, well, they're giving us all this wine to try, and I tried. I just don't like the taste of it.
Well, wine definitely is an acquired taste, and some people really enjoy it, and it really enhances their meals, and other people take it or leave it. And
Right.
So, yeah, but beer in Europe tastes different than it tastes here. They don't pasteurize it, and so it's very fresh. And it just has a different taste than beer here. And one of my staff's husband is kind of a beer aficionado. I don't know what the term for that would be. Not a wino, but a beer aficionado. And he went to the Heineken brewery in Amsterdam when they were on a Rhine cruise. And he said, oh my gosh, Heineken is so good. Here he thinks it tastes like dish soap. But in Europe, he's like, it's the best beer ever. I would go back to Amsterdam just to have a Heineken. And so it is neat to try those different cuisines in different places. And see what they're like.
What's interesting is they don't seem to have anything catering to people that don't drink alcohol.
Yeah,
on cruises,
what would you have? Soda, water, juice?
Yeah, you have ginger ale or Diet Pepsi, and
Sure.
that was the choices, but that's okay.
Yeah, they can always mix fruit juice and sparkling water.
Now, if you remember, on one of the last days of the Viking River cruise, they had this aqua vite. I don't even know what it is. It's some kind of an alcoholic.
It's Norwegian moonshine. It's a clear alcohol that they make in Norway. And yeah, it's like turpentine.
Well, yeah.
It's an acquired taste.
The last time I siphoned gas reminded me of that. So
How many years ago was that?
I didn't want to say.
I was in Croatia one time on a cruise, and they have a local drink that they call rakia. Rakja, I think is how they spell it. And they bring it out in these cute little glasses. And I'm Lutheran, so they remind me of the little plastic communion wine glasses that we used to have when I was a kid, and it was about that much. And you were expected to take a shot before you tried anything else. And, you didn't need to brush your teeth that night.
There you go.
Just cleared it out. Did you stop in Rudesheim, though, speaking of...
Yes.
And did you have the Rudesheimer coffee?
Well, we must have been at Rudesheim.
It's got like the little Christmas village, and it has the cable car that goes up.
Kathy Wolfart's, is that
Yeah, Kathy Wolfart. There's a Kathy Wolfart.
Okay.
They serve Rudesheimer coffee, which is coffee. Then they put a little shot of local apricot brandy in it. They light it on fire so it burns off the alcohol. And then they put whipped cream on it to douse the fire. And then you drink it before you go to bed, which was one of those things. It's like, okay, I'm going to have coffee and brandy before I go to bed. Are they going to cancel each other out? Or it's actually much better than it sounds. I was surprised that I actually liked it. But they serve it in like a big porcelain, it's almost like a mini vase.
Wow.
Almost. And it's sort of a ritual when they do it. And the waitress comes around with a blowtorch and whoosh, it's like Cherry's Jubilee. But
everybody has short hair after that.
Pretty much. But it's a fun experience on a river cruise.
Now, we had the chimney cakes in Budapest.
Yes.
Which were quite fascinating. We didn't find them anywhere else.
What does that mean?
Chimney cake, it looks like half of a paper towel roll, just the core of it.
So like a toilet paper roll.
Yes. But a little taller.
Tastes better.
Tastes taller. That's right. A little taller, and they bake it over coals.
Okay.
And then some of them have chocolate or cinnamon or different things on this, and it's hot and it's just wonderful.
They're kind of a little bit similar to a funnel cake, but different texture. They're not deep fried. They're more like
baked or something.
Like a graham cracker consistency.
Oh,
almost.
sure. Okay.
Yeah. But that's one of the things that I think is neat about travel, whether it's on a river cruise or traveling anywhere else, is to actually just kind of enjoy some of the local, try the cuisine there. And it's so funny because the first time I was ever in Copenhagen, Denmark, we went on a foodie tour. Guess what we had at the first stop?
McDonald's.
Nope, better. We had coffee.
White Castle.
Coffee and a Danish.
Coffee
and
a
Danish. Seriously, we had a
Oh.
Danish, but sure enough.
Of course.
We had a Danish. And then we had the ultimate Copenhagen lunch.
Which is?
Which is a hot dog.
It
They
is?
are
Really?
insanely crazy about hot dogs in Scandinavia, but in Copenhagen in particular.
Really?
And
I didn't know
they
that.
have, yes, they're very serious about their hot dogs. So a lot of people, they'll go out
Shocking.
on a nice day and they'll buy a hot dog for lunch. And you can have all sorts of different toppings on it, but they're really skinny, kind of long hot dogs.
Okay.
They're really good, but I was expecting,
Are they tough skin like?
they're like a Hebrew Frank.
Okay.
Little, more than
Not like
Oscar Mayer.
Not like a fun dog, huh?
No. They're
My
like
wife likes fun dogs.
I don't know what a fun dog is.
It's the absolute cheapest hot dog you can buy at the store. I think it's about $1 a pack.
And who makes them?
Nobody knows.
It's probably better that way.
And nobody knows what's in
In
it.
Copenhagen, they're about $10 a pop. Because everything in Scandinavia is a little more expensive.
Sure.
It was just kind of fun, and you sit outside in the park and you have your hot dog. And I don't know when the last time I bought a hot dog.
For sure, right.
That wasn't at a gas station.
Yeah.
And went out and had a hot dog
Or a ball
lunch.
game.
So, yeah,
Wow.
exactly. Yeah.
So, what do you think about the way that you eat in restaurants? In the olden days, when you would go on a cruise in the restaurants on a cruise ship, you had to sit with the same people all the time, but that's gone away.
Yeah, a lot of cruises have changed the way they do dining, and they're much more flexible about it. And in river cruises, you can sort of sit with anyone you want to, or you can sit by yourself. A lot of them have, Viking has, actually, they call it the Aquavit Terrace. Mm-hmm. They have an outdoor dining space as well, so you have a little more casual option if you don't want to have the full dinner. But yeah, most cruise ships have gone away from the here's your table assignment and here are the people you're with. Because, what if you're stuck with somebody like me? I mean, that would just be terrible.
Or me.
Yeah, or you.
Or you, that's right.
Stop looking at me, both of you.
So I have to say one of my favorite restaurants at sea is on board the Cunard line ships. And we've talked about Cunard before. It's a British cruise line. And they were the ones that had the Queen Mary and the Queen Elizabeth that crossed the Atlantic and the QE2. And if you stay in a mini suite or a suite, you get to dine in a restaurant that's called The Grill. And so I brought some of the menus in here today.
Are they pretty fancy?
And they are phenomenal. The food, the service is just absolutely
Give us some highlights
incredible.
there.
Let's find the gala dinner menu. I brought the gala dinner menu in here. So for your appetizers, a couple choices. Uh-oh, we're going to have fanfare. At least he didn't play the theme from Titanic. So you have a couple choices here. You could have a Thai vegetable spring roll.
Okay.
Duck pate with brioche.
Wow.
Smoked and cured fish, which would be smoked trout with horseradish mayonnaise, salmon tartare, and a roulade of smoked salmon and Cornish crab served with crisp bread, or roasted peppers with sumac, yogurt, a charged courgette. And I discovered that courgette is the British word for zucchini.
Oh, yes.
And toasted almond. So your salad is pickled vegetable and quinoa salad with radish and coriander.
Oh.
Your soups, you have two choices.
Okay.
Roasted cauliflower soup or chicken consomme with vegetables.
Yum.
And then for entrees, they have king prawn korma. And that's a shrimp korma like you would have at an Indian restaurant. They have beef Wellington, of course. Coquille Saint-Jacques, which are glazed scallops. They're so good.
I just had that at Quick Trip the other day.
They did, yeah. Yeah, right next to the cheese curds.
next to cheese curds.
And you could also have miso grilled aubergine.
I don't even know what that is.
Eggplant.
Okay.
Yeah, so sometimes even the English menus, you have to have a little translation.
Wow.
I had to ask what a courgette was because I didn't know.
They can make anything sound good, can't
Yes.
They can. And then I have to say this. The best thing ever is the baked Alaska. Oh, my goodness. It is phenomenal baked Alaska. And we were traveling with some friends on a cruise. And the next time we went on it, we said, we have to ask for baked Alaska. Mm-hmm. We're going to have baked Alaska tonight. And so they love special requests in the grills restaurants. And they said, sure, what night do you want baked Alaska?
Wow.
I think we got an entire state, each of us. I've never seen such a big portion of baked Alaska in my life. But, they take ice cream and they cover it with cherries and then they put meringue on it. And they used to light it on fire back in the day when we didn't worry about cruise ships burning down.
Oh.
But now you can't do that. So they had baked Alaska for dessert. But this restaurant, they actually do tableside preparations. And that's something we almost never see anymore. And I just think it's so fun.
Guacamole.
Well,
sometimes.
yeah, but they do like crêpe Suzette. And they do duck à l'orange.
They do that at the table
side? But it's so funny because you'll see them come to the table side, and then the maitre d' will look up, and he or she will see a little smoke detector there. So they'll move 5 feet away, and they'll start doing it. And I always just want to say to them, this hasn't ended well.
Exactly.
At least once, right? But
that's right.
I never say that. So,
do they serve tableside anywhere in the Twin Cities?
The Afton House Inn did it up until recently. I don't know if they still do.
They did a Caesar
Steak Diane.
And they did a Caesar salad.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
I remember we had it at Ocean Air in Minneapolis.
Of course.
Yeah.
We had the baked Alaska.
Yeah, they used to actually have parades. So
where
the
they'd come
waiters
out,
would carry them in, and then they'd balance them on their heads, and they'd use, what is that, the stuff, the sterno liquid, and they'd, the waiters would pick it off and lick it, and then they'd breathe fire.
What?
But yeah, they had
I
a
could
cruise
do
ship
without
caught
that.
on fire, and that was the end of that.
Oh, okay.
It didn't, but
What
you know, some
what
travel
waiters do
killjoy.
for tips, right?
Yeah. Some travel killjoy killed that.
Yeah.
So what is your next stop for eating? Are you going to go somewhere in town, or has this piqued your interest to go on another cruise?
Well, I'd love to go on another cruise. We have our 50th wedding anniversary coming up.
Congratulations. That's a
So
really,
I'm going to start
really
a GoFundMe page.
Yes, that's the real reason for this show,
Well,
isn't it?
you mentioned Scandinavia.
Yeah.
And do you like fish?
Oh, yes.
Pickled fish?
Sure.
Then you're going to the right place because Scandinavians love their pickled fish.
And they don't eat lutefisk there, do they?
They do.
They do.
They do in Norway.
We do at our house
Yeah,
every Christmas.
Holiday? Oh.
I'm defeated by three things in life: a marathon. We've been defeated by the marathon. Lutefisk and bananas. Can't
Yep.
eat any of those.
What's the banana?
But lutefisk. Just
I'd say don't
can't
eat
do
them
it.
together.
Well, it's a good point. It's a good point. Yeah, but no lutefisk. I can't
Oh,
do.
brother.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was actually on a ferry in Scandinavia. They have ferries that sail between the big cities, and they're like mini cruise ships. And so I took a ferry from Copenhagen in Denmark to Oslo in Norway. And at night they have a smorgasbord, and it's, you know, a buffet with all sorts of different stations. So they had the smoked fish station, and I think they had about 75 different types of smoked fish.
Wow.
I couldn't even
70
imagine. Oh, it was just everything.
You don't even know what
I
to
don't
try
even know what
because you
to
want to try everything.
And
but
everything
you
was in
can't.
Norwegian and Danish,
Oh, boy.
which didn't really help me very
No.
much. And you couldn't smell it because the whole thing smelled like
Very
pickled
fishy.
fish. It's like, oh, pickled fish. Pickled fish.
That's right. Well, it sounds like the next place we should try to go,
Yes, is where?
at least out in the Baltic countries,
For
Sweden,
sure.
Scandinavia.
For sure. Love it.
And if they run out of food on the ship, you just dip your line off the ship and pull up a fish and
Someone
grab
will
some
pickle it
pickles
for
and
you.
pickle it
That's
for you,
right.
and you're good to go.
Pickle this for me. Hey, when is that pizza place opening in Hastings?
Broadway Pizza, we don't know yet, but hopefully
I saw a
soon.
coming soon sign.
Yes, coming
Yeah.
soon.
Coming
Very nice.
soon.
We'll have to go there.
Yeah.
We show prep.
There's been a lot of new restaurants
I
in
know.
Hastings
I know.
in the last 18 months or so.
Yes.
Yeah.
We love it. Love
That's right.
it.
Especially Bibi
Oh,
Thai.
oh, there it is.
So I live near River Falls, and we have a sister restaurant called Lily Thai, which is a sister restaurant to Bimmy Thai. But I haven't gotten there yet. But it's
You
on
haven't
the list.
gotten
It's
there?
on the
Oh,
list.
all
I hear
right.
it's very popular.
Yep.
From my, I have a employee who works for me who's quite the foodie, so he made sure he was down there the first time.
Yep. Get the masaman curry. That's really
Masaman
good.
curry? Is that
Masaman curry. It's
related
not
to
spicy.
the Massman family?
No.
Oh.
They just get a cut because it's part of his name.
I like spicy though. I could do a spicy.
Okay,
curry.
well, they have spicy if you want it.
Okay.
You know who doesn't like spicy? Pierce Pash, right?
He loves spicy.
Oh, is it you that don't like spicy?
Well, I don't, not as much. I'm a lutefisk guy. My mom used to like things maybe not quite as spicy as butter.
Yeah.
That was about it for her. So I inherited that gene.
All right. Well, we are at the end of our time. Thank you so much. Will you take us out?
You want? Oh,
Yeah.
Carol of the Bells.
Take us- I don't-
the love boat again.
I think that's the great thing. This show has been called Epicurean Delights with your host, Randy Berg, joined today by special guest, travel expert Ted Blank on AM 1460, FM 97.7, KDWA in Hastings.